Good evening and welcome to GamingKin. As always, my name is Jack and I'm joined by Mark.
Hello.
And we're once again doing the podcast over Discord because at the moment we have to observe social distancing, and I don't think my room studio thing has enough space to have us both social distancing while in the room at the same time. So
Studio thing, what's a new terminology for it?
well, it's my wee studio, so wished. So what we're going to do is we've cut back on the news this week. We actually only have 3 stories, and that's just in between our kind of topic discussion for tonight. And we're going to kind of continue on with creepypastas, but we're also going to add into that mix fan theories, or I'm going to add into that mix fan theories. And this time round it's video game centric rather than just being any creepypastas we could find that interested us. So we are going to jump straight on in with Mark's one.
Okie dokie, so I'm up first. So the first of my 3, I'm going to go with it's just called that Lavender Town Syndrome. Got details for this on the past website. So in it states, the Lavender Town Syndrome, also known as Lavender Town Tone or the Lavender Town Suicides, was a peak in suicides and illnesses of children between the ages of 7 to 12, shortly after the release of Pokemon Red and Green back in February 27, 1996. Rumours say that these suicides and illnesses only occurred after children played games with Lavender Town, steam music, extremely high frequency. A study showed that only children and young teens hear since their ears are more sensitive. Due to the Lavender Town tone, at least 200 children supposedly commit suicide, and many more developed illnesses and afflictions. The children who committed suicide usually did so by hanging or jumping height. Those who did not act irrationally complained of severe after listening to the Lavender. Although Lavender Town definitely, depending on the game, this mass hysteria was caused by the first Pokemon game. After the Lavender Town incident, programmers had fixed Lavender Town's theme music, be it at a lower frequency. Since then, children were no longer affected by it. One video appeared in 2010 using special software to analyze the audio of Lavender Town's music. When played, the software created images of the unknown near the end of the audio. This raised a controversy. Unknown didn't appear until Generation 2 games Silver, Gold, and Crystal. Unknown translate to now. There's also said to be a beta version of Lavender Town. It's said that the beta version of Pokémon Monsters were released as instead. On the link I've got, it shows a video of a beta version. It's different. Unfortunately, obviously, this is audio, but I will be put into the details of the podcast so you can look at it later on. But yeah, that's my first one, and I can sort of believe it, but it also seems really mental as well.
Yeah, it's one that I'm fairly familiar with. It works because there are audio triggers that can cause, behavioral changes. So it is definitely one that works because of that, and which is why it's a good one. As a sound engineer, as a trained sound engineer, it's also one that I like because it plays into kind of things that I know. So yeah, definitely a good one. I mean, like, whether you believe it or not, regardless of whether you believe it or not, you can't deny that Lavender Town was quite a creepy song.
Oh,
especially the first time you were playing it and you weren't expecting it.
You set off a lot of tunes here, so I'm just kind of sitting there and going, what the hell?
And it also ties in well to one of the ones that I've got here, which is the Buried Alive model creepypasta, which is often referred to as code, which is the Buryman script, and it was found on the final story of the Pokemon Tower, and what has now been replaced with Marowak's Ghost. According to the scripts assigned to it, the Buried Alive model was intended to be the boss of the tower. Once reaching the top floor, the following conversation would have taken place. And obviously with the way Pokemon works, you have a silent protagonist with the occasional ability to reply yes or no. But this is one of the usual one-sided conversations where Buried Alive goes, "You're here. I'm trapped. And I'm lonely. So very lonely. Won't you join me?" After this, the battle would be initiated. Once in the battle view, the Buried Alive model appears to be a decaying human corpse attempting to crawl out of the ground, and it has been programmed to have 2 white hands, a Gengar and a Muck. Strangely enough, a protocol for Buried Alive's actions after it was defeated were not written, probably because they believed it would be so difficult to defeat. Strangely enough, in the case of a player defeating them, the game would freeze. However, a specific ending was written by an unknown programmer upon losing the battle. In this ending, Buried Alive was to have stated, "Finally, fresh meat," followed by several lines of gibberish. He was to have then dragged the player character into the ground surrounding him, and the scene would finish with a typical game over screen. However, in the background, an image of the Buried Alive character devouring the player was to have been shown. Especially strange are the protocols for after this scene. The cartridge was to download this image to the small internal memory contained within the Game Boy, overwriting the title screen that normally accompanied a Game Boy turning on. Instead, whenever it started, the player would view the image as the sound file static mesh.wave played. And that ties in quite well with Lavender Town, because that happens in Lavender Town. Some evidence for it, when you are outside the Pokemon Tower, there's a girl that goes, "Do you believe in ghosts?" If you say yes, she goes, "So there are believers." But if you say no, the answer is no. Well, what's that white hand on your shoulder? Or am I just imagining it? Things against this creepypasta is one simple thing that debunks the whole thing. The sound file.
Alright.
Game Boys couldn't play wave files. They couldn't play wave files. They could only play MIDI files. So it couldn't, view the Buried Alive image as the sound file static mesh was played, because a Game Boy can't play the static mesh wave file. Other than that, I think it's quite a well written one, and there are people who have programmed it into a ROM and like post-production edited the screen on and stuff, because the thing was never actually in the game. It was never in the beta or anything like that, because Pokemon was to be a kids game from the start,
Yeah, true.
So it's clearly false, but it's well written, and for most people who don't know the internal workings of a Game Boy, knowing that it can't play a wave file, that one small fact will go over their head. So yeah, got nothing bad to say about it from a reader standpoint, but Any thoughts on it yourself?
Yeah, just one of those ones I just kind of love, like the idea of just the darker aspect of Pokemon.
Yeah.
Can I remind you that one you did was at the it talks about fresh meat. I think that's Pokemon as well.
It's this one.
Was it the same one?
Yeah, I didn't do this one last time. Did I?
Oh, I'm not too sure now. I think I actually did it last time. Do you remember you kind of I do remember you going.
No. Do you know what it was?
What?
When we were still in chat after the last one,
I
I
gotcha.
talked you through it. That's why you remember me talking about it.
Cool.
I was getting worried there.
Professionalism.
It's gone out the window already. Yeah, this whole series of fan theories and creepypastas got started off when we were talking about Pokemon fan theories, and it's come full circle to Pokemon creepypastas. So it's a nice. It just feels like a nice full circle now, doesn't it? But we do still have a few more each to go. But while we've done Pokemon, my one news article for between our creepypastas and fan theories is going to be Pokemon Go introduces remote raiding to help trainers who are stuck inside. Now, this was teased about a month ago. They teased remote raid passes, allowing players to access raid battles that you can see on the nearby screen without actually having to go within the usual radius. Today, those passes were gradually rolled out across the whole community, starting with level 40 trainers. The system is now available to pretty much everyone, and passes are currently available in the in-game shop. I mean, it won't feel the same as going out and hanging out with folk and doing a raid and then walking to the next one like you would do normally. You only need one pass to join a raid. You can only hold a certain number of passes at a time. But I mean, it's better than not being able to play at all. And there were talks of people being stopped by the police while trying to play the game properly during lockdown.
Yeah, I've definitely heard a good couple of stories about it.
Yep, it was actually in a Stevenage. I mean, obviously they're saying stay home and stay safe. Essential travel only. Pokemon Go is not essential travel, so.
Well, it might be. You don't know his story.
I mean, I would still go out and play Pokemon Go and just call it my half hour being allowed outside for exercise.
Half hour? Would I get cut?
I've heard from day one it's been about a half hour.
No, I heard it was an hour.
Well, half an hour there, half an hour back.
Fair enough.
I don't know, but the most exercise I get is a 10-minute walk to the shop these days.
Doesn't count when it's for fags.
Yes,
Or
I do go and buy cigarettes, yes. But I mean, they're making it easier for players to play without having to leave the house and get in trouble with the police and stuff. So I mean, I would say that's good.
Yep, definitely. And it does work pretty well. I've already me and Vicky have done it once already. It does work, but unfortunately you can't spin the
Pokestops.
gem.
Oh.
You can't spin the Pokestops.
Mm.
And you can't put anything into the gem, so it's literally only raids.
Yeah.
So it's irritating in that sense.
I mean, I think if you could get out and not get caught by the police, you could probably get a decent amount of time in a gym and get some decent coins. Decent number of coins from it. Perhaps. Who knows? But I think it's probably time to continue on with some creepypastas and fan theories. I've got a pretty cool fan theory that I originally seen on Outside Xbox, and I then looked it up on Reddit, and I think it's absolutely fantastic and really do want to share it. And so I'm going to.
Good. I'm looking forward to it.
So, the Doom Marine is Link. The Crucible is the Master Sword after years of hellish corruption. So, most of the original theories around this were based off of the older games, like you should obviously know by now, it's Doom and Legend of Zelda. So it's based off of, like the kind of NES, SNES, and PC era of the games. So like back in the kind of 80s and 90s. But this expands the games, expands the theory to include Doom 2016 and Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. So there are spoilers for those games, but I mean, surely by now most people who want to have played them have played them, with the exception of myself, because I've not played Breath of the Wild yet. But I mean, I did read this already, so I'm okay with that. So yeah, the poster on Reddit started. I know this has been said before, but I want to expand on it. So in the old school Zelda games like Ocarina of Time, for example, Link was left-handed, but in more recent entries like Breath of the Wild, he's suddenly right-handed. And that is because when they brought out Skyward Sword, Twilight Princess, they were made for the Wii, and as most people know, only 10% of the population are left-handed like myself, and even fewer people are ambidextrous, like Link. In the old school Doom games, the Marine was left-handed, but switched to right in the most recent game. Again, this was because they brought out Doom VFR. And again, virtual reality is pretty much the same as Wii motion controls. You're still, if you're marketing it to the mass of people, you're going to make it right-handed if you're going to have to like shoot and draw bows and throw grenades and stuff, because most people instinctively do it with their right hand.
Well, I didn't think as well that Link and Doom Marine are titles. They're not like specific people.
Well, I've only just started. There's quite a lot to go through. We'll get there.
Okay.
We'll probably get there. So yeah, Link and the Marine were originally left-handed, but in the more recent titles are right-handed. Also, Link and the Doom Marine are famous for wearing green. I mean, this is just the basic stuff. But let's get into the deep dive, right? In the Zelda universe, the storyline is about a demon called Ganon, who's constantly trying to escape into the realm of the living and wreak unholy terror. But he's always stopped by Link, who is usually a different man every time, because his soul reincarnates whenever Ganon is close to freedom. The Marine, similarly, who seems to be different people depending on the timeline, with the same objectives of sealing the forces of hell away. These two seem to share similar roles in their universes, being the only people in their universes that can combat that university's version of the devil. Aside from same character roles, fashion sense, hair colour, they're both ambidextrous. They also find themselves in the same situations in their most recent games. Doomslayer and Link were wounded in combat with the forces of evil, were put into a stone sarcophagus, sealed away for at least a century before being released, and immediately continuing to kill monsters the first opportunity that they have. The reason the Doomslayer almost didn't seem to remember or care about finding himself in the stone sarcophagus because it wasn't the first time it happened to him. In the lore of Doom 2016, you find stone tablets of text, soapstone etchings, testaments, and so on, of the Doomslayer, saying that Doomslayer has been combating evil for centuries. Now, in the game, there is an unseen archdemon that is leading the demons, but we never see them. I think that the unseen demon was Ganon, because of how that particular demon describes the Demon Slayer. The age of his reckoning was uncounted. The scribes carved his name deep in the tablets of hell across aeons. and each battle etched terror into the hearts of the demons. And they knew he would come, as he always had, as he always will, to feast on the blood of the wicked. And again, in this terrible rancor between worlds through time, the Hellwalker found the wretch who shall not be named, but in his heresy was loyal to his evil cause. The wretch adorned the Doomslayer in a mighty armour, wrought in the forges of hell, impenetrable and unyielding, with sword and shield of adamantine strength. The Doomslayer set to banishing all that were left unbroken by his savagery to the void. Now, if he were to give his honest opinion, wouldn't that be how Ganon might describe Link? So first take into account the demon says that they learned the Doomslayer would come to fight them. The learned the Doomslayer would come to fight them as he has always fought them and always will. He also describes him using a sword and shield, and that he went between worlds and throughout time. Link similarly is known for fighting demons, coming back again and again throughout all of time, and always using a sword and shield. But sword and shield, when did the Doomslayer use a sword and shield? Well, in Doom 2016, you travelled to the corrupted world. The demons took over and enveloped into hell, called Argent D'Nur, where the Crucible, an immensely powerful artifact, was located. There you meet the souls of fallen knights who the Doomslayer was once a part of, but rather than a Halo-esque power armour, these knights wore Templar-inspired medieval European-looking armour. The armour also bears a striking resemblance to the armour of the Hylian Knights, like the armour of the Hylian Knights that Link can wear in Breath of the Wild. Argent D'Nur is Hyrule after Ganon finally won out against Link. That's why the Doomslayer was described as wielding a sword and shield. That's why the glory kill feature exists. Link is still used to fighting up close. That's why he closely examines the guns he finds in Doom, because Link hasn't used them before. But he was always a great marksman throughout the Zelda timelines. Which brings us to the Crucible. It's discovered at the end of the game, that the Crucible was the Doomslayer's sword. But if that's so, why didn't he use it? Why did Samuel Hayden have to show him how to activate it? And if the Doomslayer is a mythic force against evil, why does it look like a hellish lightsaber? Here's why. It's the Master Sword, but Link didn't recognise it. In the game they talk about how hell corrupts everything it touches. That's why Argent D'Nur has become what it is today. That's why Olivia Pierce became so sick, why Hayden developed horribly aggressive cancer. So the place you retrieved the Crucible from was the Temple of Time, destroyed because of the invasion, still holding the Master Sword in its stone sheath. It's the reason why Hayden and no demon could take it. Only Link can use it, but just like everything else, the Master Sword was corrupted, so he just didn't recognise it. That's why it was important to the demons. They were trying to keep Link from reaching the sword that seals away evil. Samuel Hayden knows that it's the Master Sword, and he thinks that he has to be the one to stop Ganon, knowing from Legends it's the only weapon that can defeat him. Hayden thinks that he is the hero. He even says so himself. He thinks he's the one who's supposed to stop Ganon, not the Doomslayer or Link. Lastly, the demon said that Doomslayer/Link's soul was tainted beyond ascension because of the time spent in hell. So it's once again proof of hell's corruptible power. But I think they were just mistaken. They know that Link keeps coming back throughout the ages, throughout time, so they realise that his soul seemingly never can truly be laid to rest, and it keeps coming back to fight them. They just assume his inability to find peace and death is because he's too corrupted, not because he's so uncorrupted that his soul keeps coming back to fight them.
Oh.
Yeah, I think it's a bloody fantastic one, and I'm convinced. The only thing that would make it even more convincing, right, is if Doom was made by Nintendo, or Legend of Zelda was made by id Software. That's the only thing that would make it more convincing.
If only. Only. You just take off Doomslayer's helmet and it's just like long blonde hair.
Yeah. Also, in the new Breath of the Wild, um, Link wears a blue tunic, not a green one. Super armor in the original Doom. So you had the armor ones which were green, kind of like armor tops. You could pick up, it would give you like 100% armor or 25% armor or something. Super armor was blue, and it gave you 200% armor. So before anyone goes, oh, but Breath of the Wild they had blue armor, yeah, we thought of it. See, it was all. However, it now does mean that Link is also related to Captain Keen from the Captain Keen games, and BJ Blazkowicz from Castle Wolfenstein. Because in the Idverse, as it's called, it is clear that Captain Keen, Doom Marine, and BJ Blazkowicz are all related.
That was a hell of a timeline. Okay, I'm gonna have to like search up the official timeline of that family.
Yeah, I'll link that, like all the creepypastas that we've done, the last one, and we're going to do in this one as well as the fan theories. I'll link Reddit posts or the wiki entries in the description. I'll also add the Idverse one, the Idverse theory, into this one as well. So you can see the evolution of the family line as well that I just brought up.
That sounds awesome, man. Definitely gonna check that out.
You had it.
McDonald's.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so is that me up?
You know, yeah.
Okie doke. Right, so my second one is actually another on the final story of this one is called Pokemon Black, and I got this again off of the creepypasta.com website. Okay, so here's the story. I stumbled on this unsettling story, like art hack that I thought might be neat to share in here. I think this originated 4chan, so this hack actually exists. Probably doesn't. It's still a great concept / tale. And that was just the kind of intro of the author of it and the actual story. I'm what you call a collector of like game, Pioneer, and Jade, Chaos Black, etc. It's amazing the frequency with which you can find them at punch-ups, Goodwill, flea markets and such. Generally fun, even if they're unplayable, which they often are. And the mistranslations and poor quality make them intentionally humorous. I've been able to find most of the ones I've played online. There's one I haven't seen anyway. I bought it at a flea market about 50 years ago. Here's a picture of the cartridge. Again, this is all dealt with in the actual creepypasta, so I'll make sure this gets linked for you. Anyway, continue. Unfortunately, when I moved 2 years ago, I lost the game. Sorry. The game started familiar and Nidorino again got intro of the blue version. However, the press start screen had been altered. Red was there, but the Pokemon did not cycle through. I also said black version. The Pokemon. Upon selecting new game, the game started, and the professor quickly became evident the game was essentially Pokemon Red version. After selecting your starter, you looked at your Pokemon. You had, in addition to Bulbasaur, Charmander, or Squirtle, another Pokemon, Ghost. The Pokemon that was level 1, sprite of the ghosts are encountered in Lavender Town before obtaining Stealth Scope. It had one attack. Curse. I know that there is a real move named Curse, but the attack did not exist in Generation 1, so it appears it was hacked. Defending Pokemon were unable to attack Ghost. It would only say that they were too scared to move. When the move Curse was used, the screen would cut to black. The cry of the defending Pokemon would be heard, but was distorted, played at a much lower pitch than normal. The battle screen would then appear, with defending Pokemon gone. If used in a battle against a trainer, and the Pokeball representing the Pokemon would appear in the corner, and they would have one fewer Pokeball. The indication was the Pokemon died. So even strangers that after defeating a trainer and saying register $200 for winning, battle commands would appear again. If you selected run, battle would end normally. You could also select curse. If you did, upon turning to the overworld, the sprite would be gone. After leaving and re-entering the area, the spot where the trainer had would be replaced with tombstone once in Labrador Tower. Curse was not usable in all instances. It would fail against Ghost Pokemon. It would also fail if it was used against trainers you'd have to face again, such as your rival or Giovanni. It was usable in your final battle against them, however. I figured this was a gimmick of the game, allowing you to use the previously uncapturable Ghost. Because Curse made the game so easy, I used it throughout the whole thing. The game changed a bit after 4. After viewing the Hall of Fame, Ghost and a couple of very underleveled, the screen cut to black. The box appeared with a word many years later. The then cut to Lavender Tower. An old man was standing on the tombstone. You then realised this man was your character. The man moved only half of your normal walking. You no longer had any Pokemon with you, or even Ghost, up to this point it had been impossible to remove from your party through depositing in it. The overworld was entirely empty. There were no people at all. There were still tombstones of a train cursed on, however. Pretty much anywhere in the overworld at this point, where your movement was limited by the fact you had no Pokemon to each end. Regardless of where you went, music of Lavender Town seemed on an empty. After wandering for a while, found that you go for Diglett's cave, cut up a bush and blocks path on our side, longer layer, allowing you to advance Pallet Town. Upon entering your house and going to the exact tile you start the game, the screen cut to black. The spray of a Caterpie appeared. It was then replaced by Weedle and Pidgey. They soon realised as progressed from Batata to Blastlight, the leaves were all used cursed on. After the end of my rival's team, a youngster appeared, and a bug catcher. These were the trainers I had cursed. Throughout the sequence, the Lavender Town music was playing, was slowly in pitch. By the time your rival appeared on screen, it was a little more on the demonic rumble. Now cut to black. A few months later, the battle screen suddenly appeared. The trainer spray was now that of an old man. The same ones who teaches you how to catch Pokemon in the Viridian City. Ghost appeared on our side along with the words, Ghost wants to fight. You couldn't use items, and you had no Pokemon. If you tried to run, you couldn't escape. The only option was fight. Using fight would immediately cause you to use struggle. It didn't affect Ghost. It did chip off a bit of your own each. When his Ghost turned to attack, it would simply say, dot dot. Eventually, when your HP reached a critical point, Ghost would finally use Curse. The screen cut to black a final time. Regardless of the buttons you pressed, you were permanently stuck to black screen. At this point, the only thing you could do was turn off the Game Boy. When you played again, New Game was the only option. The game had erased the save file. I played through this hack game many times, and every time they released. Several times I didn't use Ghost at all, it was impossible to remove from the party. In these cases I did not show any Pokemon or trainers, and simply cut to the climactic battle of Ghost. I'm not sure what motives were behind the creator. It wasn't widely distributed. It was presumably not for monetary gain. It was very well done for a bootleg. So he was either trying to convey a message, which seems like in the store receiver of it. I'm not entirely sure what it is. The inevitability of death, the pointness of it. Perhaps he was simply trying to morbidly inject death and darkness into children. Regardless, the children's games made me think. It has made me cry. And that's it.
good.
Yeah, it was a dark as hell for a Pokemon game.
Yeah, you'll find a lot of the creepypastas for Pokemon games are based around Gen 1, be it Gen 1 ROM hacks, Gen 1 glitches, or just stories about Gen 1. But yeah, again, another one I've heard, another one I like. I was going to do that one when we done creepypastas last year, but I chose to do Pokemon Strangled Red instead. Found that one was a bit more fun. But yeah, definitely a good one. Can't complain with it.
Okay. Right, so I believe we're second news item.
Yes. So anyone who's checked out Twitter or YouTube for the channel knows that fairly recently I done a 24-hour live stream on the day Final Fantasy VII R came out, and 2 days after I completed the game on an 11-hour live stream. Well, in Japan they have what's called the Ultimania books, and they're often translated and brought over to the West. The Ultimania for FF7R isn't out as a translated version yet, but there was some comments in the book which were translated by a Twitter user. And they translated what's said in the book as Nomura is quoted as saying, if we divide the story into large parts, it'll take longer to make. If we divide it into more detailed, smaller sections, then developing it will be faster. I hope to release the next one as soon as possible. So first Final Fantasy Remake installment released earlier this month and focuses entirely on the opening Midgar section of the original PlayStation game. Also speaking in the Ultimania book, the producer Yoshinori Kitase reported that the FF7R team has a general idea of how the game story will play out across each episode, following the cliffhanger ending to the first game. He continues on by saying, we have a general idea of how the story will play out, but we haven't decided exactly how many parts, nor can we confirm anything. Kitase has been reported as also saying there's speculation that it will be 3 parts, but we're just doing things one step at a time. In November 2019, Tsuya Nomura confirmed that work on FF7R Part 2 is already underway, and for those who have been asking the forums and everything, if you haven't yet received the answer, Part 1 is definitely a timed exclusive on the PlayStation 4 for the next 12 months. Well, for 12 months after the initial release. 7R Remake sales are reportedly off to a strong start, with physical and digital shipments topping 3.5 million worldwide 3 days following the game's April 10th release. Publisher Square Enix claimed last week that the PS4 exclusive, which experienced significantly disrupted physical releases due to the COVID-19 epidemic, has achieved exceptional digital sales, which are still continuing to increase. However, Final Fantasy 15 remains the fastest selling game in the long-running RPG series, having recorded day one shipments and digital sales exceeding 5 million units following its November 2016 release for PS4 and Xbox One. So, yeah, we all thought it was going to be a trilogy for FF7R. The episode 1, disc 1, episode 2, disc 2, episode 3, disc 3 would have made sense, but considering you get a fair bit further into the game in disc 1 than we did in episode 1, it does not seem to be the case. However, I'm okay with them doing maybe 5 or 6 parts, especially if they're going to add in so much more detail. like they did with episode 1.
Mm-hmm.
Because you got, I don't know how much you've seen of the stream, Mark, because I know you've not played it, but I know you watched some of the stream. They go a lot deeper into the backstories and personalities of Jesse, Biggs, and Wedge. You do a wee bit more of, kind of life in Midgar, kind of things. The train graveyard after Don Corneo's mansion, that was some extra stuff thrown in there. Climbing the wall up to Shinra Tower was a wee bit different. You learn about some of the secondary characters there. Yeah, it was definitely a lot of fun. It definitely added in a lot more backstory. So if they're going to keep doing it that way, adding in more lore, yeah, I'm totally fine with that. Because I like how the first part turned out. So hopefully, if they are doing smaller chunks of the story, they can add in a lot more backstory to characters and stuff. So I'm all for it.
Yeah, definitely. This is really interesting. I'm kind of intrigued to see if they'll maybe try and add in like elements from the trying the name of it correct here.
Dirge of
Like
Cerberus.
Yeah, thank you. Dirge of Cerberus, like the
Yeah.
what was it?
The shooter. Yep.
No, yeah.
The spin-off.
Spin-off. Thank you.
Yep. Which was a third-person shooter where you played as Vincent.
Aye.
Back
No, yeah,
in
maybe
PS2.
comments of that. I can't remember if I played base before, during, or after.
It was base before, if I remember rightly, but they can still bring it in as a backstory. They can also do the same with Crisis Core on the PSP.
That would be good.
Before Crisis.
You meet Zach a bit.
Yeah. Zach, Angiel, Genesis, and Sephiroth. You also had Before Crisis, which was a mobile-only, a Japan-only mobile game where you played as the Turks, Rud and Reno. Give you a bit more backstory on those guys. If they're doing it that way, I'm all for it, because it's been fantastic playing the game. I can't wait. I just hope they don't do it in too many parts, and that they make it worth the £50-60 price tag that it's going to be.
Do you reckon it goes so far to add in details of like the movie as well?
Because that's in the future, I doubt it. The Advent Children takes place 4 years after FF7. So
I don't know.
I doubt they will. I doubt they will. But I've been saying from the beginning, while they call it remake, it's more of a reboot because they are changing quite a few things. And like I said when I was talking about it, I was very skeptical. I actually think they've changed. The things that they've changed for the better.
Definitely so far.
Like there were
I've not heard about it.
There were some parts where I was definitely emotionally invested in the game, a lot more than I was back in the day.
Oh, I doubt that. I just forgot how much you got like all bubbly over.
I didn't really get emotionally invested in Final Fantasy VII the first time around.
No?
No. Final Fantasy VII is not one of my favourite Final Fantasies. It's actually a lot lower down in the list.
For me, it's probably between 9 and 10 for my top one.
Because Final Fantasy VIII is my favourite. I've got a big soft spot for Final Fantasy IV. Final Fantasy 15 is fantastic. 14, massive time sink. I've put in, I think I put in about 500 hours on PlayStation before I switched to PC, and I've just put in another 500 hours on PC. and I've had the game maybe about 3 years. I've dumped about 1,000 hours into it in 3 years. And even at that, when we get to like kind of the end of the story, I kind of end up taking a long break until the next story patch comes out. So I don't even play it like every day like most people do MMOs. I kind of play maybe about 2 weeks straight, once a month, once every 2 months, you know. Um, so, yeah, I mean, Final Fantasy VII's on the list, but not as high up as it is on most other people's. I mean, it was the game that introduced me to the Final Fantasy franchise, but the one that made me fall in love with the Final Fantasy franchise was 8.
Fair enough. I think that's the one I've gotten least far into, so I'll need to give it another shot or something.
What, 8? Oh, it's worth it. Do you want me to start the next round, or you want to start it off?
I think we're on to the last story.
Yep.
You tell you what, I'll go first.
Yep, no problem.
Okay, so this is my final story. And this one's actually a bit more of a horror one than a game one, but still related. And this is called The Virtual Slayer of Pennsylvania. And this was on pasta.fandom. Right, here we go. I know nothing I do will resurrect victims, nor will I be able to bring their ruthless killer to justice. If anything, I'm writing this story is a reminder that we are never truly safe. Not we have to live next to an ancient cemetery, north by the peaceful woods of Pennsylvania myself. Nevertheless, choose to live blissfully unaware. The decision I stuck by all my life the last horrible event unfolded. If this too is your decision, I encourage you to cease reading immediately. After all, easily attribute my experience to coincidence understanding. If however you were able and willing to take a narrow leap of faith to the thought of these strange occurrences, I invite you to read on to learn from previous errors and judgment. Just last Saturday, my best friend Jordan and I were scrounging in the cellar for my old 64. Every month or so, we dedicated the night to playing video games. We usually play more modern games, but for whatever reason, nostalgia strongly urged us to find the old Mario Kart game we often played as kids. This place is disgusting, Jordan said after examining the cobweb scraped from white of the cellar. Why would they bother cleaning it? Never even good in here. He shrugged and began moving it with towers of boxes that cluttered the floor. What's that? I heard from across the room. What? I asked. This? Jordan answered, dank, dusty seat, spelled with illegible title, swelling forefinger. I don't know, but it's something on mine. Did you find it? I questioned. I was pushed between the floorboards, just to his box. Well, let's see what it is, he said. We headed to the office, waited for a sluggish computer to load the disk. To be prompted by multiple windows, installed the contents of the CD. A few minutes passed, a video game popped up. The game, rendered in a first-person perspective, began in a tiny bedroom furniture, save for a blocky bed. Picks are horrible, Jordan complained. I nodded. It was evident it was created by an amateur designer. Why is it so demanding? Jordan was pressing a key on the keyboard, discovering that the arrows were input. I plugged in my headphones. All I could hear was a quiet ringing sound. Footsteps of the character Jordan was controlling. He really strictly mumbled. We'll go see what's on the other side of the door, I commanded, and Jordan approached the door, slowly opening itself, revealing the rest of the house. What? To say, mesmerized. What is it, Jordan? Nothing, I lied. Jordan continued to explore the second floor of the house. No other doors would open. Giving up, he headed down the stairs. Look at this place, he gasped, pointing towards the large living room, nest of stone fireplace that filled the monitor. It looks exactly like my house. That's what in the background. It's ringing louder and louder. Interrupt. Jordan shrugged an inch forward. Suddenly, the cellar door flew open a significantly longer distance, inviting them in. We nervously glanced at each other. Jordan continued down the stairs, shrouded in darkness. By the time he reached the bottom of the stairs, the screen was pitch black. Suddenly, inferred from sound alone, a door slammed. Maybe you chose the wrong door, I suggested. Try going back. It was cut off. Feeble light turned on, revealing a tall and thin man with an rusty razor blade and a black plastic bag in the lower, reached over in the corner of the room. My eyes shifted from him to the floor and nearly went to two mutilated corpses, a girl and a middle-aged man. The girl had no eyes, the blood-splattered nerves held them. The man's cadaver was equally gruesome. His left arm was nothing but a jagged stump, leaked into a pool of blood which eerily drifted towards Jordan's feet. The ghastly figure noticed him standing there. Slowly he turned around to face Jordan. Except for my rapid heartbeat, his entire body froze. Words right his grisly face. His lip, which appeared to have been screwed on, were missing that quite the side of his face. His one eye was significantly lower than the other, both were fully dyed. He was clothed in a filthy, mangled attire of a white shirt that cloaked the rest of his crooked body. He took a step closer, increasing in proportion. Flint, he whispered in his voice. He continued forward. Piercing noise grew exponentially. I now have to take him, he said, rubbing the razor's edge of his deformed thumb. Quick in his space, my ears pulsed in response to the deafening loud sound that was at its back. My head felt like an overinflated balloon ready to burst. I prayed for the noise to stop. I was too paralyzed to say anything. The figure, seemingly reaching out to the screen, raised his knife and quickly thrust it down, and everything shut down. The computer, and thus ahead, lights, fan, everything. Unfrozen in panic, Jordan and I darted out the door, stumbled down the staircase, far away outside. I nervously yanked the handle of Jordan's car while he fumbled inside, put the car in reverse, and quickly forward it. We were on our way to the local police station, followed hopefully by the hospital. I was pretty sure that a combination of a video game and Jordan's suicidal maneuver gave me heart palpitations. We reached the station and explained what we saw. Although we demanded immediate action, we were told that an investigation would be filed and would later be contacted, for better or for worse, Fury's cursed video game or a massacre recreation that weren't taken. Jordan left his address and went back to his place. They let me stay for a few days. Eventually, a letter regarding the investigation arrived. According to the letter, the alleged video game was nowhere to be found. There were no locally reported homicides. All was around I found in the game. Despite the police's assurances, I refused to set foot in my house again. I called my realtor, who I've known relatively well, and my mother's many relocations. Told her that I wanted to search for a new home. Sure, no problem, but what made you decide to move? She asked. I sighed, knowing the truth would fall on deaf ears. Let's just say it's something with video games. Video games? She asked in a joking yet patronising tone. I can't understand what you kids say those things. You and Walter would have gotten all famous. This is Walter, I questioned. Oh, you never met him? Previous owner of your house? Anyway, I think he was a game creator or something like. She revealed. Gulped. A game designer? Where is this, Walter? This time my skin crawled when it hit my lip. Nobody knows, she said. After his disappearance, the house was deemed abandoned. No, I said in a horrified awe. It can't be. I hung up and quickly searched for a missing Walter in my town. The link clicked appeared to be a transcription of a 4-month-old newspaper containing cursed sick. I skimmed the excerpt while scrolling down until a picture in my full vision immediately caught my attention. or simply trembling and controlled by familiar ring sound, round louder than before, stared at the horrifying ugly face of Walter Holmes, many features of which resembled the virtual Slayer. Once my trepidation quelled, I shut my laptop, and for the first time in my life, I felt completely and utterly helpless. I wanted to help and to be helped, but how could I? No one would believe me. And that's that one.
Nice.
Yeah, it was dark. Can I just wish you did actually check underneath the cellar? Like, really? It done. So, you're up.
I'm up. Well, I can go two ways about this one. I can go hella in depth, or I can just skim across the top.
Purely considering obviously my time constraint, I'm gonna go with Gem first.
That's fine. So, this isn't really a creepypasta, it's sort of a fan theory to the point where it's not even considered a fan theory anymore, it's more considered an urban legend. And it's called Squall is Dead, and it revolves around the 1999 role-playing game Final Fantasy VIII. Now, at the end of the first disc, when you fight Idea, she impales the main character Squall with an ice shard, seemingly killing him. However, at the beginning of disc 2, he is miraculously healed with no explanation. The strange execution of these scenes has convinced many players that Squall actually died and the rest of the game is his dying dream. Final Fantasy fan site Squall is Dead, which is what I was actually going to use for doing most of it. However, I'm just going to use the fandom page because it's more condensed. Has amassed quite a bit of evidence supporting this claim. The first piece of evidence is the fact that Squall lacks any sort of wound after his healing, a fact that he acknowledges in-game. In addition, after Squall is healed, the game's story, setting and enemies begin to take a more surreal, dreamlike quality that clashes with the semi-realistic atmosphere of the first disc. Enemies become more outlandish and alien-like, and the female character Renoa, who showed no real interest in Squall, becomes romantically interested in him. During the endgame movie, several images are shown that heavily revolve around Squall's supposed death in Disc 1, such as Renoa running towards him after he's impaled, and Renoa attempting to save him from falling off the parade float. We are then treated to a shot of Squall with an inky black hole round his face. Squall's Dead is said that it's likely this is Squall's final dying dream, at the end of the cutscene signifying his actual time of death. And here's where it all unravels. In late 2017, series developer Yoshinori Kitase was interviewed by Kotaku about several of the myths surrounding the series. Regarding Squall is Dead, Kitase said, "No, that's not true. I actually think he was stabbed around the shoulder area, so he was not dead. But that's a very interesting idea, so if we ever do make a remake of Final Fantasy VIII, I might go along with that story in mind." I'm going to jump onto the Squall's Dead fan site and just grab a couple of extra pieces of evidence. In the latter half of Disc 1, 2 conversations take place concerning Sephir's fate, and if he will be executed for attacking the president of Galbadia. During these sections of dialogue, Squall muses to himself on the existential qualities of death. Will they ever talk about me this way if I die too? Squall was this and that, using past tense, saying whatever they want, so this is what death is all about. And in this manner, Squall considers his own death and what little difference it will make for the world. This serves as for foreshadowing, an ominous suggestion to the viewers that ill times ahead. Also, this excerpt from the first conversation concerning Seafear's possible execution. Think what you want. Reality isn't so kind. Everything doesn't work out the way you want it to, that's why. Is what Squall's thinking to himself, but out loud he's saying, as long as you don't get your hopes up, you can take anything. You feel less pain. Anyway, whatever wish you have is none of my business. Yeah. It's also kind of contrary to what some consider a central theme to Final Fantasy VIII's story, which is fate. You know? So, yeah, and then there was one thing that kind of tipped everyone off to something strange going on within the game, and that was Moombas. Like, you'd never seen anything like that in the game, you know? The first disc had a fairly high level of realism despite the fantasy and sci-fi topics present in the game. Characters were all humans, and outside of monsters there was no unearthly creatures to be seen. Renoa had a dog that attacks her at times, as earthly dogs are known to do. But these weren't like Muggles or anything, which would have been acceptable because, you know, Final Fantasy, got to have a Moogle in there somewhere. But then again, they are explained later on within the context of the game, but just how sudden they appeared, with no explanation at the time, definitely should be noted. Yeah, that's Squall's Dead. I'll link them in the description as well, especially the Squall's Dead website.
So,
the Squall's Dead website is absolutely massive. It has videos and still shots. And all the evidence you could need to see it's a very well thought out one. The only problem with it is it's been debunked by the series director.
Yeah, it just kind of hurt it a little bit.
Yeah. But I'm gonna round us off for tonight with a final piece of news. I'm a big fan of the Lego games, but I wasn't that big a fan of the Lord of the Rings ones, just because I'm not a fan of Lord of the Rings. It's the same with Harry Potter. I'm not a Harry Potter fan, so I didn't really get the Lego Harry Potter games. But for those who are Lego Lord of the Rings fans, you'll know that the game was released the 21st of February 2013, and it was taken down from digital stores on January 1st last year. Well, the games were re-added to Steam on yesterday, 27th of April. So yeah, just that. Lego Lord of the Rings and Lego Hobbit are back on Steam, ready to be downloaded and played at your convenience. The reason they were taken down were copyright reasons, but yeah, they're back. If that's your thing, go and grab it and enjoy. That's all I really have to say on that. But yeah, that has been it from us here at GamingKin, I believe.
Nice wee short one today.
Yeah, nice wee short one. No massive news stories or anything like that. As always, I've been Jack. I've been joined by Mark. And just remember, there's always room for you here at GamingKin if you want to be our friend. And as always, as I've been saying a hell of a lot at this time, stay safe out there.